It's live. It's live.
Oh, I thought you were gonna do yours. Okay. Hello, my name is Thomas from Stop Shop.
Uh huh. What are we talking about today, Thomas?
Talk about people with disabilities and how they can be.
How they can be what? I'm listening to you. What are we talking about
Mhm.
today? 5 minutes, Thomas.
Hmm?
Just 5 minutes. What did you want to talk about today?
Um,
Remember how you were telling me about you in school?
mhm.
What was that like for you? You know, you you told me about you going to a number of schools in different counties. You told me about a number of moves you made to try to prioritize being in environments where people could deal with your hearing disability coming up.
Yes. I mean, like right now, hearing the family was new, moving around. Nobody can ever uh, adapt to somebody with hearing impairment, thinking, hey, they speech impairment, learning impairment, they can really, well, they gonna fall off because they can't hear or they can't speak. Well, they didn't know who I was. And taking classes, speech. I was a speech therapist. Didn't like going to it now, but I know it helped. And having teachers just be engaged and actually learn who I am, learn my interests. That helped, and just finding new teachers that acclimate to learn somebody with disability. Instead of, they started people me with disability instead of just seeing it not a regular student. I played, just got here in the family, play sports, hang out with everybody. I just have a work a little harder than the average person in the classroom. It might take me a little longer to do something. That's what everybody acclimated. I just see me as like everybody else. Just that I just have to work harder. I might have to ask you, might get annoyed, asking you, hey, can you repeat it
Repeat
again?
yourself.
Repeat yourself. I didn't hear that word, or you spell that word. And it's annoying, but it just helped me adapt to it and be easier to do. And
Do you feel like the issues you had coming up was because you had a disability or because people weren't informed about what it meant to be around somebody with that disability?
I think if people just didn't want to deal with the person here, deal with the kid, with the hell, I got the kid, he got the hearing impairment. Oh gosh. Then again, there wasn't a lot of representation in schools. I went to school and there wasn't a lot of black teachers, or we didn't see a lot of people, black kids around, so it was hard to adapt to it. And the main one, I never, they just didn't want to deal with the kid with the hearing impairment. Hey, you got to do this special accommodation for this kid, which is knowing, well, I guess law, ADA, you have to make accommodations for me, even if you don't want to. And I just know a lot of kids, even adults, really just didn't want to. Kid didn't care. The adult didn't want to deal with the hearing kid. But as I got older, I just tell them no. When I was little, parents just tell me you advocate for yourself at a younger age. Ain't nobody doesn't know that you're the hearing kid. You're not the hearing kid. You're a Thomas. You're the lower kid.
So for you, right? So when I met you, do you remember that? Do you remember the day I met you?
Just,
And and so like, okay, so backstory for a second. Me and Thomas met through Tinder. All right. Yes, Tinder, right? Tinder dates, right? And
mm-hmm.
so the funny part about it is, so we met through Tinder. We talked about all this stuff. We both kind of connected on being weird, right? I was raised in the arts. No matter what people tell you, artists are weird. They have their little stuff too. And so we connected on that. And so we had never even had a conversation about um, anything disability related before meeting. But literally, as soon as I met him, he's taller than me. I don't know if y'all have ever seen us stand beside each other, but he got me by easily half a foot or more. And so, anyway, we met kind of standing up, but not looking straight at each other in person. And so I heard him talk before I actually noticed his physical appearance. And so I picked up almost immediately that he had a hearing disability. Now, the reason why I was able to do that so easily is because one of my best friends coming up, like my best friend since like 11 years old, had a hearing disability. He used to call me on video calls before video messaging was a thing. He used to call me on a video phone catered towards hearing disability people being able to have a sign language interpreter mediate the call for them with hearing able people. So I had become very accustomed to it over my years and my childhood and stuff like that. So when I heard it, I was like, oh, cool. And I think because I really didn't say anything about it, he wasn't sure where I stood. Um, but it started to become I feel like maybe you got more comfortable once you realized it was something I was around my whole life.
uh,
And I pretty much picked up where the conversation had left off via text. Would you say? You feel like there was ever a communication issue?
well, I know told you about the whole, me through the hearing impairment, coming hearing impairment, becoming the speech impairment. Words, hey, you sound different. Why you sound your voice so deep, or you just sound weird. A lot of people think they want to come around, hey, he sounds weird. Or other kids, hey, you sound weird, have a weird voice. Voice just the same as everybody else, just don't sound the same. But you took that as, no, you didn't care. No, you didn't care that you as a person, not disability.
I definitely think so. I think probably the biggest adjustment that you had to make was song. I told Sam like, hey, he has a cochlear, he has a hearing aid before she met him. And so when Sam met him, she was just a nosy kid. Like it wasn't like I'm trying to see what was going on with him. It was like I'm nosy. What y'all doing? You know. And so I think the thing that may have been a little bit of an adjustment. At least I think it came off that way. It seemed like it. You seemed more standoffish until you realized the song was just nosy. Like she
Mm-hmm.
wasn't trying to see what was up with you, or you know. Um, Sam, she was raised in a she's attended predominantly white institutions coming up. So she was, even though I had never personally exposed her to anybody with a hearing disability, right? Like she went to my best friend's wedding, he had a sign language interpreter, yada yada yada, but it didn't stand out. But her coming up in predominantly white schools, they had a lot of extra things. So she had classmates who had cochlears and classmates who had hearing aids. Meanwhile, when you talk about that phase of your life, you were like the only black person
Mm-hmm.
you knew that even had the resources to be able to treat those types of things afforded to you. So it's like other people might have hearing problems, but they weren't addressed within our community, making you come off more black sheepish, would you say?
Yeah, back to me, you want to downplay, hey, he got a hearing that, he's fine, he's not listening, he don't want to listen, he's just hard headed, he just not listening, but never going to know until you guess you're going to taking the kid to a doctor. You just don't want to take get to the doctor, get the bad news. Hey, your kid has a hearing impairment. Oh, great. You think, oh, that's going to become an expense. But you use the resources to have medical insurance, help pay for stuff. We just don't know what resources out there to help pay for medical equipment. Growing up, I didn't have to pay for the medical equipment. It was all covered under insurance.
Like, how did your family even? Because when your mom told me the story, I was like, "What? That's crazy." But how did your parents even find out you had a hearing disability?
We just random. We just it was like 3 or 4, and I was just in the room playing, and the fan, the light bulb just fell and shattered, and it started to move. And then I got a big old book. He came up behind me and just dropped it and said, "Yo," and said he didn't flinch. No, anybody would flinch something loud and boom behind you, you're a little flinch, but it said I didn't flinch, so this up. So took me to the hospital and then get this checked out and just see, having hearing impairment.
And
So
that is where the shift happened. And so when we met, you did a lot of stuff that availed you not to have have a lot of engagement. Wouldn't you say?
yes,
Like you were all he Thomas worked 7 days a week, like from the jump. Like I don't know how many people know that, but I met him and he worked 7 days a week. Like we met after work on a Saturday night. And so um it was interesting that he worked 7 days a week at like three different jobs, but seldom had to come in contact with people. Um and so I feel like some of it was a safety thing, would you say?
well, I did try for a good job. I ain't got to speak much, or the end of the day, if I didn't have to speak much, just check you in and just answer, say yes or no. That's the best job you can get out there. Get paid to say yes or no. Hey, check you in. Cool. I don't got to speak much. Hey, I didn't want that problem. Hey, or get a phone call. Hey, you sound weird. Or kids, hey, you sound weird. Thank you. No one that people, hey, or I didn't want to ask, hey, what is that in your hair? You answer no. Is it cochlear? Hearing aid. Well, what's all that? Oh, we don't got time for that. Don't you got a class to go to? Or don't you got somewhere to go? Oh, look. Class. We had that discussion. I don't want to keep having that same discussion every time. It kind of gets annoying. Everybody, you hearing the family, hearing age or cochlear disability, they're trying to downplay hearing, and a hearing impairment is not really a disability. It's just you don't want to listen, or you're not listening, or just hearing impairment is not a disability. It's not a. I think when you say disability, it's supposed to be a physical walking, or there's nothing wrong with you just making it up. Right? You can have a speech impairment, a learning disability, or hearing. We just want to downplay that thing. When you think of disability, you think of something physical. You don't think of you look normal. You can take off your hearing aid. You can hear. You just playing. They don't believe you. Like I show you a test or something. I don't have to prove I don't have a disability. A lot of people think you just lying. Prove it. I don't know how you prove you have a hearing impairment. Have a hearing impairment.
True. So, okay, let's get into it. So, when I met you, you worked like crazy, but you work stuff that allow for you to avoid people, despite the fact that you also teach in the school system with students. Like, you still somehow manage to put yourself in a predicament where you don't have to talk as much. Would you say yes? No? Okay, so one of the first things I I talked to you about, or I started to expose you to when I realized you work 7 days a week at three different jobs, um, was the fact that like there's so much more money. Especially Thomas is he's real like don't talk unless you ask him questions, yada yada yada. But Thomas is also a social butterfly, and I learned this at the gym because I don't talk at the gym. Okay, that is the one place don't speak to me unless you're my trainer or unless you're checking me in. Right, that's my gym rule. Thomas, on the other hand, he got besties at every gym he's ever been to. Like they playing catch up, they reflecting on life. Like he's that. Oh, hey, how's it going, man? And I'm just like, look, this is a no talk zone. Okay. So I realize he's a very personable person. Like it's not that he can't talk or he refuses to talk. It's like you got to put him in an element where it resonates for him. So remember when I told you, I said, Thomas, you're like obsessed with sports. He would literally spend his time on the clock at these jobs, not talking to people, streaming what? Streaming games, streaming football games, streaming basketball games, streaming wrestling. Like
I was not. I was working, streaming no sports, streaming.
tomato. We we could tell that lie to somebody else, but this is our stop shops stream, so we're not gonna do is lie to our people. So anyway, when I realized that, I said, Thomas, people are always looking for people in the community, you know, because I was already in the event marketing, experimental marketing space before I met Thomas, right? Um, I was actually home from a stint with some clients or whatever. So I was already in the space. I said, Thomas, people are always looking for guys that are local but dependable to show up for work when they're supposed to work, yada yada yada, to do sports events around here. And so, do you remember your first event? Do you remember your first marketing event?
Yeah, the UNC football.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was like he got free Tar Heel merch, which I refused to pay for. Right. So he got this free Tar Heel merch. He got to go to a UNC football game for free. And you just got to be around people, talk about what you cared about, and you made more money. Did you not?
Yeah, I did.
And I feel like that became the moment where it was like, oh, I don't have to. Because when you get deep in the sports talks, do you feel like people are focusing on what you look like or what you sound like, or are they focusing on what you got to say about these sports things?
Oh yeah, with your opinion and everything, or your fashion,
Like it's the passion, you know. So it became a situation where it was like, oh, you can get out of your comfort zone in a way that you're also still very comfortable. And I feel like that was the beginning of a new world view for you. Would you say? What would you say? We want to hear your opinion about it because
Well, I was want to know about the VA mafia a lot sooner. I mean, we just had to get to go to get paid to do the stuff you got to go do in sports. Go attend sports games and doing that. I wish I would. Someone would have told me that a lot sooner. I wouldn't have to. I wouldn't have went to college or right outside of high school. I would have went straight to do some VA work or learn. But just learn the stuff I knew. Like that, somebody taught me that stuff. I wouldn't have to be worried about what my disability was because there are different ways to make income without just doing stuff you like or just alternate ways to make income.
yeah.
Income.
Now, do you feel like now at this point you're years into it? You name some of the stuff that we've been able to do in the event and experimental marketing arena together since you've been exposed to it. Like I can think of a couple of things we've done that I've truly loved, but name some of the things we've done together. That
We got attend some spot races. You know, that's find some new entries and stuff. I didn't think of obstacle course was weird, hey, but we got to do that and seeing the people, the passionate people doing about us, pick up a new sport. Got to travel to new places. Got paid just to go travel to different places we didn't think we ever heard of, and you got to meet a lot of new people out there that didn't. Hey, we here to do a job. Hey, here to have fun. It's I get the job done. You get to and then once you meet the new connections, you got a new group of people. Hey, they call you. Hey, I got a job down here. You want to come down here? We hold your spot. You go to Wilmington just to have fun down there. You just got paid. You got to meet famous people, basketball player at CIAA.
oh
And you
yeah,
got to see him. You think you ever get to just be up close and
do
to
a 3 point shootout with him. I forgot about that one.
you got to see Carl Thomas. You know, he's cool.
That was don't bring that up.
Yeah,
Carl Thomas, y'all, he had a bad day on stage. He performed loud.
yeah.
It was bad.
I mean, you got to see him. You know, you can go see him in person. Don't see him. That's cool. Just it's cool to get to see what's out there and just to get to travel. I like that. And getting paid for it. Just didn't think I didn't think I'd be able to venture outside of North Carolina. And you got to do it while getting paid for it, which was awesome.
Oh yeah, don't forget Kennedy Center.
Oh yeah, I
We
never heard.
went to we went to Black Girls. We were able to do Black Girls Rock up there. That was awesome.
Yeah, I never. I first time I've been in some big old stadium like cool got to seat up high. Oh wow, it's very interesting. This a great experience.
And I feel like that led to other ripple effects, like the Spartan race, like talking to those athletes, like world
Mm-hmm.
renowned obstacle court athletes, right? Some of the things you started to notice was the stuff they use versus the stuff we use. Because that was really a thing that brought us together. Obstacle, not obstacle course racing, but CrossFit in general, and just fitness. So it was like he was into certain variations of it that I wasn't, and vice versa. And so it became kind of this thing that brought us together, and it also became this thing that took him completely out of his element, but threw him into his comfort zone. Would you say?
Yes.
Like it was completely out of your element in the sense that you weren't sitting somewhere. It wasn't like real traditional. You just showed up with your badge and your work clothes on, and like it was nothing like that.
You just have to show up
It
and
forced you to engage more than you have ever expressed the interest in engagement, but you were engaging about the things you cared about.
yeah, yeah. I know the BML can. Yeah, I know a couple events by myself had to actually go up to people. Hey, engage. You know, got to learn. Hey, some people want to talk or don't want to know about the party. Don't want to know about the party, but somebody. Hey, you offer some free stuff. Hey, somebody will come talk to you. You offer them a drink. Hey, I don't care. Hey, you talk. Hey, tell me about the product. I think that helped me with the speaking wise. I got more confidence with speaking, so that was good. Just speaking with anybody, nobody cares what about you. They just want you to tell you about the product as long as you know what you're talking about. Now, you get mad if you don't know what you're talking about. No, that's for sure.
Now, when I think about the Spartan races specifically, talking to the other professionals in all of these different arenas, it allowed for us to discuss stuff that we seemed valuable, but wasn't really in our radar. Like Garmin.
Mm-hmm.
Garmin became a huge investment that we made, like through stocks behind Spartan races.
Yeah, you know about Garmin wasn't the thing. I know the big thing you heard about. What you hear on? Never heard about Garmin on a
Like you'll
commercial.
hear about a GPS. You'll be like the last time we as a majority of the black community was talking about Garmin is when they were just the navigation systems people could
Mm-hmm.
put in their cars. Like it was never the fact that they have like a five tier business model,
Yeah,
you know.
the premier sports watch, man, pretty good. And then you heard about Apple, you heard about the smart stuff, but you won't know what you don't know until you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was an eye opener, From that led to a number of investments that we made after the facts. Like after Kobe passing, Garmin came out, was like, and I think still is the first company to come out with a emergency self landing feature for private planes, like which is a huge game changer for the travel industry, but it's even more lucrative for those people that are invested in it. We didn't realize that like a Garmin watch runs price wise and quality wise run circles around the Apple watches
You know what I'm saying? And doing a lot more.
and they constantly have grown. Have they
Yes.
not? Like we see it. You look at the chart. It's like it's like a roller coaster that don't ever come down.
And then the one thing to say, they advise their customer to get a lifetime warranty.
Hmm. Yeah, and like it's just like that was a boss move. We didn't realize how much of a boss move that was to be able to even be able to generate multiple income streams. Thomas was the type of person that had this little janky Walmart watch, y'all, for the longest time. And now look, he
Nah.
he got him a Garmin
Mm-hmm.
that he figured out how to brand without stuff, and then he started using it as multiple in multiple ways to be a passive income source, to do the passive income advertising, to be a brand ambassador for them, to be an investor in them, all behind something that he already rocks with. And the fact that that one lets him do all of the stuff that he really likes as it relates to fitness, it's like he read that thing all day, all night.
Mm.
I don't wear not a single watch more than about 12, 13 hours. He'll rock his like it's a third hearing aid or something.
Yeah. I'm attached to it. It's attached to it.
Yeah. So those are definitely some of the things that I know for a fact that you did just as a ripple off of the first thing. It's like you got into this, you became a Spartan, a legit Spartan. You ran the races behind it. Fit Aid became something in your arsenal behind it.
I just experience new, find out no Gatorade, and then end up being found out in Banyam. I heard about Banyam. I knew Kobe was into Banyam, but I never actually tried out Banyam. Everything I got, all my information came from commercials. But then you learn now the best stuff and the best stuff out there. You want to see it all on TV. You don't know about it. You just don't know about it. Like you brought up like Ferrari. How you don't see that commercial or Lamborghini on TV? They might not be for you. They target a specific demographic.
Demographic that ain't watching TV for real.
Mm.
Like,
They know who the target. They know that what the party is. If you know the party, they're coming by. They know who they're gonna pick it up and
and it's
sell.
not that they don't advertise. That's the dope thing about it. They advertise places that wealthy people
Mm.
give their attention to, like the Wall Street Journal, like Entrepreneur Magazine, like places where you're trying to stay up on information. Those are the places for them to go because those are going to be the places that add value to their lives. But it also makes them aware of those things that they might use for celebratory purpose. So today, we've had a number of conversations about the school system as it relates to the special needs community. And one of the things that was happening before the pandemic broke out is they had this modified learning curriculum for special needs high school students, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it wasn't so much focused on textbook information as much as it was focused on what type of stuff.
Well, you know, you learn on the curriculum. No, we teach them, hey, going to the community and work, and that's cool and all have a good work ethic. But we didn't teach them. I felt like I'm telling them, hey, why don't we teach them about hey, you get credit? I mean, how about that? You teach them how to do credit. You know, teach them how to spend, but you teach them how to work to generate income. Like, hey, I know the kid that has he had a kid with autism. He's very good with computers. The only thing is he didn't have was communication skills. We didn't have to have a communication skill. It can just be like on the work market. Hey, you go in there, fix the computer, and got to talk to nobody. You go in there, make a couple $100 just fix the computer, and be on its way out.
Just
You
get
got
paid for something.
and we got certain kids. Some parents knew what their skill was. Hey, this kid was a good baker. Hey, okay, they set up a bakery shop for him. He just baked, do what he loved to do. He make income
And
for him.
we know for a fact that he could have a brand ambassador or a salesperson to actually do the human engagement part.
So I just feel like I know special needs. Hey, you need to set them up for a lot of them. I didn't know about life insurance. Hey, knowing about it. Hey, some of these parents set these kids up for life. Hey, start in the beginning, and they're set for life. Even if they parents for the past, hey, these kids will be sent because you got to assume the policy ready for them for when they. I didn't. Some parents didn't even know that. I just started. So you
And
start.
can I elaborate on that for a second? So what Thomas is talking about with the life insurance, he's talking about the fact that some of the students in his some of the students that fall within that special needs category, especially in high school, um, they're gonna require assisted living or some type of third party coming in to help them for the rest of their lives, whether it's with day-to-day responsibilities like grocery shopping, meal prep and stuff like that, or whether it's just to help them be able to get around mobility wise. And so the life insurance thing he's referring to is like a lot of these kids, a lot of us, a lot of times we see in the black community more than any other community, these people with these disabilities get older and somebody's left to have to care for them until the end. Meanwhile, there's a life insurance policy um, beneficiary payout model you can set up where the life insurance eh, from the day you die till the day that your beneficiary dies, the life insurance policy will pay out a sum to that beneficiary, would be a monthly, annually, and for the rest of their lives. So it puts them in a position where they now don't have to become a financial burden to somebody else, or they don't have to be put in some on a medical bed in somebody's living room, in a family member's living room, just because, well, this person is going to need this assistance for the rest of their lives and somebody has to do it, and nobody can afford to just throw that money at a third party medical facility or assisted living facility or something like that, because nobody was prepared to have to be able to afford that. But the life insurance policy can do exactly that for those people. And it's a lot of them. We both have people in our lives personally, and we know just people just in general that will require some level of third party care, helping them out for the rest of their lives.
You see those parents that have, what am I going to do? Well, hey, you know what, you turn 18, well, hey, you turn 18, you the parents, hey, you turn 18, you get them through high school, you should be able to, hey, they be able to set them free, hey, do whatever, now you got them through 18. Now, if you have a disability, that's not something different. Hey, what am I going to do? Right? You should learn our life insurance, hey, the payout, hey, they got programs for them, the people that get paid to actually help take care of the kids. Hey, you don't gotta be the day that they need. Hey, they can get an apartment just like regular people. They will have just kind of know the resources to get them in the programs early, so when they graduate, they'll be able to be taken care of and get moved into another program. Just you know, parents. I think the parents feel, hey, my kid got disability. I want them to be, hey,
Treated
stay
differently.
treated differently. But I tell the kids, hey, yeah, once you graduate, turn 18, you treat just the same as anybody else. Some people don't see disability, just gotta be stuff out, get for yourself, know your rights. Knowing your rights is really good. Hey, I learned something on our trip.
Which trip?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. The flight trip. Yeah,
You know,
which was a thing.
TSI, made me mad. And
TSA.
yeah, TSI made me mad. Hey, tell them, hey, it's for Rogers for.
Are you wearing it?
Hmm?
Yeah. So
No, yeah, right.
Thomas has this thing that makes him look like Iron Man, in my
Oh, yeah,
opinion, when
yeah,
it lights up.
yeah.
But
So,
it's a Roger pin. So
mhm.
ultimately, it has a mic in it that allows for him to isolate the sound, so he can hear, so he can hone in even more specifically on who he's talking to versus all of the surrounding noises. Um, and so it works even better in those having to engage in public settings at big events, yada yada yada. But he wore it on our trip to Florida, so yeah, seen footage maybe. And so on the way home, on the way there, we had no issues. He was able to wear it. He never had to take it off, anything. On the way home, however, the Florida TSA people had never even come in contact with somebody that had a Roger Select before. And this was kind of, it was a way for, in the middle of the mayhem of the check-in process, for him to at least be able to keep his kind of head on the swivel about what's going on. But the guy had him take it off. Like, he told him what it was for. He was like, "Oh, it needs to go through the X-ray machine anyway," which is unnecessary. But this is where that ignorance comes in. The lack of representation did have a negative effect in that extent, where it's like, all right, now we need to make sure it doesn't get lost going through the scanners or caught up in nobody else's stuff. Um, but then the upside, the upside to Thomas having that hearing disability was what?
No, because I'm labeled with disability, I get to get on the plane first. I was like, oh, snap. I got disability. I come with a push. Some of the time, come with a nice spot. I get to go. I come there late. My lateness and still get up there.
Literally be the last people to check
Yeah.
in advance,
Yeah.
first people on the plane. And it caught people off guard because they think a disability looks, like he said, a
Mm-hmm.
specific way. Like, you got to have a limp. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Tom, Tom, okay, so listen, Thomas wears hats 80% of the year. Okay, y'all. He swear that his ears cold. He be lying, but he swear that his ears cold, right? So we have a handicap placard. And so if Thomas has on a hat, he'll be like, "Hey, Rock, get out the car limping." Get out the car limping. So nobody think this handicap pass
Mm-hmm.
is isn't legit. Yeah, yeah. See, because he wears his um Roger Select under his shirt like it's a freaking heart in
Mm.
Iron Man, and
Yeah.
then his
That's
cochlear and his hearing aid will be covered up by the head, so
mm.
nobody will see it. You know,
No, it'd be cold. Yeah, it'd be cold.
you lying, but we gonna let you live
I
today.
told you all about this cold weather.
This is North Carolina.
Like
There's only so much cold
like
weather.
it's cold in this house. It's still degrees in this house.
Okay, so
Mm.
I definitely think as of today, what are some things you're doing as wealth strategies? And I'm not about to talk anymore. As of today, what are some things you're doing that you know are allowing for you to continue to build wealth, despite people thinking your hearing disability should have been a barrier?
Well, no, I think different ways. Definitely tap into credit. I mean, I would never thought credit. You know, credit is credit. It don't. There's no credit. Don't see no color and nothing like that. Or no like disability. If you're responsible, you can get credit. You know, and investing. No, there's a lot of ways to invest in. I think about investing into the stock market, real estate. If you, if you know, just know what your passion is, like sports, you can do. Just find out your passion and what you do. You like to cook, you can make it into a business. You can make anything into a business if you're good at it.
And what do you mean by the sports? Tell people where you're at, what you're doing, or what you're preparing to do connected to the sports that you care about.
Well, I think, care about sports. I know about the trainers. I think about, hey, never done before, get some buildings and I can turn those into long term goal to get my own gym. You know, get the gym big, a big commercial space, turn it into a gym, and have you know, I see personal trainers know, hey, I see personal trainers across the branch or other people charge a lot for you to try and make a living. Hey, training people. If I have my own gym, I charge people, flat rate. No, I don't care if you have, hey, some gyms, hey, if you have a certain amount of people, we're going to charge you a certain amount of people come in. Just charge you, instead of just charging a flat fee, and then they got to figure out, hey, I got to take my prices up because I can't afford that because you have these many people. Instead of just having this, you went for a couple of hours, you pay the hourly, this small fee, pay a fee, you be able to make it just enough. I can cover bills and that, and you be able to make some money. And then another one, hey, send a little small pods of workout equipment. And everybody doesn't like to go to another 24/7 gyms out there. Don't everybody like to go lift weights for everybody. Hey, they want a personal space. Hey, just one confined space and just hey, clock in, check in real quick, go lift weights, and just leave.
Yeah, the what he's talking about is remote gyms.
Mm.
That is, I didn't realize that was still resonating with you. Yeah, when the pandemic first popped off, we felt it. I feel like we're some of the people that felt it the most
Mm.
because we had workout equipment, but we didn't have the workout equipment we used. We didn't really have no weights. We had like I want to say some 1 pound, some 3 pounds,
Mm.
maybe a 5 pound, and
Yeah.
now and so we worked really hard to get a whole gym put together. Like now we got every size kettlebell, what up to 40 pounds or something, or maybe up to 30 pounds, and then we got all the dumbbells up to 40,
Mm.
um, and plus a plethora of other stuff, jump boxes, and a number of other things. And so for us, it was like it would have been dope because we do work out in small groups, right? It's us two, it's Shola, it's Sam, right? And it's a couple of things that we just can't have here. We can't have our formal squat bar here. It's just no space until we move. And the real estate market is making it real hard for us to find our dream house right now.
Mm.
Um, and so like it's the squat bar, it's the pull up bar for
Mm.
you.
Nah.
Those are probably two of the biggest, most commercial. It's the cross trainer machine I like. It's an $8,000 machine. And outside of it being an $8,000 machine, it requires some real space,
Mm.
right? Even now, we're struggling with two of the cardio pieces of equipment I typically use, right? Just getting the spin cycle set up and finding space for it alongside the small elliptical I have is it's maxing out space for us. And so one of the things we had an idea to do, because we're also really big in the utilizing container homes as real estate, um, is making a remote gym, a gym equipped, fully equipped, but allowing for you to work out more in isolation. And we talked about it, but finding the space and stuff like that was I think an overwhelming part. And I thought he dismissed it
Mm.
because we talked about it a while ago, but apparently he was listening, y'all. So and that's still resonating with him. So that is some of the things we're looking for more land for right now, though. So that's it's interesting that you still had that those wheels trying now. Let's explain now. Some stuff making sense. Got it. So that was one of the things. But so those are your two sports investments, and then like you said, you do the stocks, and then what else with real estate? Because those are two of them, but those aren't the only ways you're trying to be that you build wealth in real estate yourself.
I just real estate, just owning one thing, owning property. I mean, you see, there's so much land out here, and you can just own just the whole. You don't gotta in buildings that you can own. I don't have anything attached to it, my name on it, or like, hey, or a company name. Hey, I own that. Hey, you walk past, you see everybody, these big billionaires have these this owning land. You just some people have so much land you don't even know. I know a couple people just have got land. They say, hey, I own a lake house. That would be nice. Just walk up on and say, I own the lake house. You own it? Or you rent? No, I just own it. Been there.
Remember that lake?
Yeah.
We seen some land that was for sale with a lake
Mm-hmm.
as a part of it.
Still coming back saying it. You look at the price tag. I mean, that's not that much. I didn't think it was that much, but you don't have the resources to tap into it. I mean, we had the resource now. I would have bought it. And it was like a lake. You think about a lake.
Yeah,
You know,
literally.
got people got fishing.
That's passive. You can rent out the ability for people to fish.
Mm-hmm. You know, some people are a little stingy with, hey, don't come fish on my land. I know a lot of people got rights there to be private property. Be like, hey, you can't fish here, or they're like a certain amount of people. Certain people go fishing, not other people.
Hmm. But you can monetize it.
Yeah, you can have not everybody knows how to fish. I probably fish maybe. I don't think I really fish. There's like a summer camp. I ain't really fish. Learn to fish. Or you teach kids fish. You just say you come out and teach free classes. Or fishing competition. Kids, special needs. They probably never. I know took kids out there. Hey, they never seen a fishing pole. And nobody access to a lake. Not really that easy to get to.
It's a lot of monetizing happening. So it's the so at this point in your life, Thomas, you are an investor. You invest in real estate. You invest in stocks. Do you actually own any cryptocurrency?
I ain't got to.
I never asked. Um, you generate money from marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you rent trade lines, so you make money off of your credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
You do private money lending. You're actually in the process of um, you you do private money lending,
Mm-hmm.
um, where you have been generating some pretty good interest, um, as a result, earning interest as a result of the payments from some of those private money loans you've done. Um,
Oh, find a way to use the business to pay for stuff.
yeah,
And it's like, hey, if you use it, find a way to make it. You have your stuff make money for you, not
yeah.
be an expense.
So like, even when you're taking a car to traditional places, like you might be headed to the school,
Mm-hmm.
you're intentional about how you travel so that you can drive traffic. I mean, brand awareness to the car magnets. So
Definitely.
you even monetize the ability to be on the road and having to go different places for
Oh,
traditional work fly. constantly advertising.
Makes them park in certain parking spaces and making sure they see the car.
Make sure all traffic coming in and out have to come in contact with advertising. So you monetize the car. You
Mm-hmm.
figured out how to make your car profitable even without renting it. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like you covered a number of things. I feel like you covered a number of ways that you've tapped into building wealth without being held hostage to your disability. And would you say that a number of those can be done, whether it's you with maybe a hearing disability, or maybe somebody with autism, or maybe someone with cerebral palsy, or um,
Anybody with disability can do anything. I think very important to have a good support team around you, people that believe in you and don't let you just have a use that a cop out. That's
uh,
most important.
use it as a cop out, you say?
I mean,
Yeah. So,
it's very important to have a just like just have a good team around you. Just help you. You don't know what you don't know. Just learning from people, just picking up new skills, just traveling. You see somebody put some up, hey, how you pick that up? Just learning what you can. You can learn something new every day just by asking. Some people can, hey, can teach you. Some people don't. You don't know if you don't ask.
and realizing that, I would say, because learning about your students, it forced me to, especially when you see what their strengths are,
Mm-hmm.
right? So learning about your students, I realized they're like, that's a valuable service that doesn't have to come the way people picture it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I might not be a tech guy, but I can form a tech company
Mm-hmm.
and use the really brilliant tech guy
Mm-hmm.
in the background as my contractor. And he makes his, I have my price, and which allows me to cover overhead, but he makes his profit off of being able to actually provide this specific service. I think it's super important to be real and be transparent, and realizing that sometimes magnifying somebody's light doesn't mean that everybody has to see it. Like, allowing people to exist in their truth, it's not always in the forefront. Yeah. I feel like everybody has seen you, but nobody's really talked to you unless they really need something. Then they be like, "Oh yeah, you can go ask Thomas too. He has an answer." But very seldom, Thomas he has a lot to say in private. He's not a big in your face talker, because everybody's not. Um, everybody doesn't have the same level of exposure experience, and like he said before, he doesn't like to have to explain who he is, just the normal things about his day to day life to folks, like his hearing aid and his Coakley. Like it's cool that you're inquisitive, but I ain't trying to be the source of your answers. So, do you have anything else to say? I feel like you covered a lot, Thomas. You were supposed to be talking for 5 minutes.
Oh, good. That is 5 minutes past. Oh, look at that. It's fast. I got nothing fast.
Awesome. Well, we thank you guys for tuning in this Money Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope that this becomes a source for everybody in our community to be able to turn to. I am going to save it. A part of me was like, maybe I won't save it, but I am going to save it in all of its glory, for referencing, because I think it is super important that the representation exists within the Black community more than anywhere else about disabilities, but also about how the fact that a disability does not have to be a roadblock in your ability to still be able to build generational wealth, build wealth in general, and really be able to thrive and progress in life sustainably. We're not trying to insinuate that every single disability is something that should not be given respect or honor to. We realize that a lot of things require both. We can be considerate and thoughtful in how we connect to somebody that may have a certain disability, but we can also empower them to have the same confidence, and feel like they can still have a place of authority and be able to empower their own progression in life as well. Because everything doesn't require the same physical, mental, or emotional demands to be able to uphold fulfilling them successfully. And I think it is important to acknowledge that part too. Thomas has, before we go, I am going to say this on camera, since Shola says it to me all the time. Thomas has way more emotional intelligence to me. I'm a very, very logical person. Like, I don't speak out of a place of feelings or too many emotions. I speak passionately, but I really speak out of a place of very a logic. So it can come off almost abrasive or insensitive at times because I don't have a high level of emotional intelligence. Thomas does though. He cushions almost every blow. We're perfect balance in that way. And so even in that, like he's the person that like calms brings the calm after Adam apparently went through blazing and caused the whole storm. So I think it's important to be able to understand that those shrimps are there. Like he's not one to talk a lot, but when he does talk, um, especially if it's not forced to happen, it's from a place of genuine desire to engage, genuine desire to say something, to share something, to help or contribute in an impactful way.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we are happy that everybody was able to tune in. We're also happy about all the people that may view this at a later time. This is our stop shop. This is our Money Monday Live. We love you guys to life, and we'll be doing it again soon.
Yep.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.